Right off the top tonight at 6 o'clock for you, Grand Rapids Community College is investigating its own football program. It started after a landlord formally contacted the school about tens of thousands of dollars in rent owed by players. The landlord says dozens of players were evicted. We told you about that last night. Well, tonight, 24-hour News 8's Tony Tagliavia is live in studio with what we've learned about this today. Tony?
So we learned the college's investigation. We learned about it when we asked whether football coaches struck a deal with that landlord to house players.
We're currently conducting an internal investigation into concerns about the football program and can't really comment on those specifics until that investigative process is complete.
One specific we wanted to ask about was a letter obtained by 24-hour News 8 that appears to show a deal to connect GRCC football players with Beckett Housing. A spokesman for the National Junior College Athletic Association says non-scholarship programs like GRCC cannot provide money for housing, and that if students get any benefit in obtaining housing that a normal student could not get, that would be a violation. College spokesman Raul Alvarez says policy does not allow for the college to pay for any student housing, including athletes. But he said he couldn't answer whether policy was followed in this case until the investigation is finished. Alvarez also couldn't comment on the letter we obtained. It appears to come from GRCC's Director of Football Operations and references, quote, what types of housing we can offer, homes we have contracted through Beckett, and our houses through Beckett. The letter lists other apartments, but lists many more specifics about Beckett homes. It says Beckett homes fall within students' financial aid budget and should not require any out-of-pocket expenses on their end. Player Vonnie Jones told us today he knew he was supposed to pay rent out of his own money or from his student loan disbursements. He says coaches told him that. Other players told us yesterday they didn't know that. Landlord Josh Beckett says when rent was due in September, he was tens of thousands of dollars short. The evictions came more than a month and a half later. The GRCC spokesman says evicted students can get help from the college.
That's true of any GRCC student. In the case of these students, they'd be able to go to Student Life and seek some assistance with some of those resources.
Jones told us some of the students left Beckett apartments because they weren't well maintained. He says he didn't have water at his apartment for a time. He also told us he's being evicted despite paying his rent. Beckett told us some players are paid through September, but it's now December, and he can't wait for rent payments as he originally planned to in the original deal. We'll keep you posted on the investigation. Brian?